to the most original talk radio station anywhere. We are LA Talk Radio at latalkradio.com.
You're listening to Question Reality. Question Reality with Priscilla Leona. Priscilla Leona. Only on LA Talk Radio.
Hi, welcome to Question Reality. I'm your host, Priscilla Leona, and we are coming to you live from Studio City, California. Our show is broadcast every Sunday from 5 p.m. to 5:50 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Now, if this is your first time tuning in, our show will help you to question your career reality. Now, this show is for you if you were, are, or might be considering a career in the entertainment industry. Our guests provide advice, resource information on how and what it takes to successfully pursue a career in show business. Our guests work in various professions of entertainment, so that means that we will definitely have someone on the show that has a career that you are interested in. Now, if you want to check out our past guests, read their bios, listen to their interview instantly, or download one of the shows, you go to the LA Talk Radio website. That's latalkradio.com. Click on the link at the top of the website that says Channel 1. Scroll down, look for the graphic of our show, which is Question Reality, and you click the link. And this takes you directly to our archive page, and there you can view a list of all of our past guests. And our shows are also available for download on iTunes, and it's under the podcast section, just in case you type in Question Reality Radio in the search box, and there you go. You'll find all of our shows. If you want to learn about future guests, you want to visit the official website, which is questionrealityshow.com, questionrealityshow.com, and that has all of the guests from next week all the way up till the end of the year. Now, I just want to say thank you so much to everybody. I have been getting so many emails. People want to come on the show. My show has become so popular. We started in 2008, and I remember worrying, oh my God, how am I going to fill guests every week for a whole year? And I just don't know what happened. All of a sudden, people are emailing me, and I've got like a ton of people in the queue. And who doesn't like to have people in the queue waiting to come on their show? So thank you so much. And again, if you want to come on the show, if you're an entertainment industry professional, you don't have to be in California. We do remote shows, so you can be anywhere in the world, and we can do the show remotely. So if you know anyone that you feel would like to come on, nominate them, vote them, send me an email, okay? Now, today we have a very special guest, and I wouldn't say that he is in the entertainment business per se, but he is one of those special people that helps people, all kinds of people, but people who are in the entertainment industry look their very, very best. And it is Christopher SLEVIN from Sweat Garage. And Christopher SLEVIN, he owns a company, again, Sweat Garage. It's located near West Hollywood. And what it is it's a boutique-style gym that offers amazing one-hour workout classes. So in 60 minutes, they have this certified personal trainer, and this trainer guides you through these various exercises, and they mix cardio and they mix weight training, and the focus of each of the classes changes daily, and they work with different muscle groups. No classes are the same, so you don't get bored. You know how you get bored doing the same old thing over and over and over? I bought the what is that thing, the shake weight for my husband at Christmas, and it's like you shake it and you shake it and you shake it, like, oh my God, do I have to shake this again? Well, no two classes are the same at Sweat Garage, so you're going to get a lot of excitement. And you know how personal trainers, you think, oh my God, personal trainer, people flip out. They're like, I can't afford a personal trainer. Well, all this is at a fraction of the cost of a personal trainer. And they make working out really easy and accessible because they strip down all of the obstacles of going to a gym. So you're going to love this. All right. You ready for this? No membership fees. They don't do any hassles or hard sells to get you to join. You just simply pay by the class. Who doesn't love that? Wow. You know what? Who would love that option. So I think it's fantastic. When Stephen Levine told me about this guy and he was telling me about the gym, I said, oh, I got to have this guy on my show, because actors are they need to keep, they should, not all of them do, but they should try to keep their mind, body, and spirit in the best working condition, because people think acting is a really hard job, or singing, or anyone in the entertainment industry. But if people who aren't, they go, oh, I see this guy on TV, I can do that. But you really have to be physically and mentally able to have stamina, because you're sometimes working 14, 15, 16, 17 or more hours on the set. So it really helps to keep your little body in shape. So again, they're certified trainers. They plan every minute of your workout so you don't have to think about it. And you don't have any struggle self-motivating. That's like the worst thing, self-motivating. I think that's what everybody suffers from. The energy is always up in their classes. That's what I hear. And you get really great music beats while your trainer is motivating you and pushing you and encouraging you. I would imagine they play one of my favorites, which is the Salt and Peppa, Push It. I think that's the best song ever for working out. That'll even encourage me to move a little bit. So that's probably a song they play. Don't know, but I'm going to have to ask Christopher. Now, they don't have an intimidating atmosphere whatsoever, and they make sure you perform within your means to maximize your workout. Because just because the guy next to you is like pumping 250, 275 pounds, I'd be lucky if I could lift a 5-pound weight for 5 times. So they're going to teach you to work with what you got. And what is also great that Stephen was telling me is that you don't have to wait for equipment. You know how you're in the gym and you have to sit there while this super power next to you is on the piece of equipment for 4 hours, and you're sitting there. Well, you don't have to wait at Sweat Garage. So everybody has their own equipment specific to their needs, very safe environment, and it's just somewhere where you definitely want to go to work out. They really make you feel good about working out. And the Sweat Garage instructors, they're all certified personal trainers. Every instructor is extremely knowledgeable about the body and how to target each muscle group and use its proper form to maximize your workout, which is great, because a lot of trainers, I can personally tell you, honey, that I have 4 friends who are actors who are working as personal trainers, and they don't know anything about any muscle groups. They just get the spiel. Okay, you do this, you do that, and they go and they actually work at gyms. And these are the people that are hurting your body, and they can cause you to have serious injuries. So you always want to make sure that you find out if your instructor is certified. Really, you need to ask that. You really do. So what's great about Sweat Garage, I think that, what, I'm just going to end it with this. If you want to look like $1 million, feel like $1 million, I suggest you put those damn pork rinds down and get your big ass over to the Sweat Garage. That's what I'm going to do. And you got to make it your daily pit stop. It's just 1 hour, and you can do no wrong in one class, and you burn anywhere from 400 to 1,000 calories. So you can turn fat into muscle, tighten and tone your body, strengthen your heart and lungs, lose weight, walk away feeling great. And Christopher's philosophy is simple: healthy body is a happy body. So I have been encouraged and inspired. I might actually peek in the window. People who listen to my show, they know me in the gym. We've been enemies for a while, but I don't know. I might be peeking in Christopher's window to see what's going on, because Stephen was just raving about it. So I had to bring him on, and he's on the show today. So without further ado, let's find out the scoop on Sweat Garage. Christopher, are you there?
I'm here, Priscilla. Thank you so much.
Well, why? What? My God, is your place as wonderful as Stephen Levine has said it is? He was going on and on and on about it. I said, oh, my God, I got to take some notes on this place, because we got to talk about it on the radio show. Tell me what is going on over at Sweat Garage. Well, you know what? Hold up for a minute, because everybody knows I ask the first question of every guest, because people always want to know, when they have a successful person like yourself, they want to know, all right, he wasn't always successful. What did little Christopher SLEVIN want to do for a career when he was a child? What'd you want to be? What'd you want to do?
I think originally I wanted to be a doctor.
Wow! Well, see, that's
Yeah.
health, body, mind, spirit. It was coming into being.
Yeah, maybe there was a part of the healing the body that this is my way of doing it.
Well,
my
see,
medicine.
but you are, in a sense, a doctor. You're the doctor
Right.
of the body and the mind and the spirit, right? We could call you an
That's right.
abstract doctor. You're all about
Yes.
helping the body and the mind. Well, let me ask you, why did you start Sweat Garage? And what do you hope to accomplish with it?
Well, I mean, just like everything you were saying in your introduction there, which was so wonderful, it's that I've been a personal trainer for a long time. I've taught group fitness classes for a long time. And there's something about the group fitness classes that eliminates the struggle of going to a gym. So Sweat Garage really is the total gym workout without the gym. And if I can somehow get people to start having a good experience with working out and being fit and getting healthy, and if they can start making that connection on their own, then that's the success I'm looking for.
Now, as a child, I understand from Stephen that you struggled with weight issues. And a lot of the times that's one of the top motivators for going to a gym. How do you feel that shaped your views of health and fitness when you had the weight issues, or how do you feel about people having weight issues and relating that to the gym?
Well, certainly being a chubby kid growing up and struggling with my own weight in various degrees, and then being where I am now and today, and seeing that I have the power, that I can actually change my body, that it takes a lot of hard work, and it certainly doesn't just involve exercise, but it involves your diet and what you're eating, and there's so many components, but that it can be done. I feel like everyone has their own struggle. Everyone has an insecurity about their body. And when it comes to working out, this is where everyone's insecurity comes to the surface. I mean, it's just getting flushed out. So it's really about, allowing yourself to say, okay, it's going to be a struggle. It's going to take some time, but I can do it. I might be 20 pounds overweight now and I want to lose 20 pounds and, it's going to take some time to get there, but I can do it. And as long as you allow yourself to say, hey, this is day one and it's going to be hard day one and day two and day three, but I'm going to make it to day 4 and day 5 and day 6, and you keep going from there, then that's what it's all about.
I absolutely agree. I really do. You really have to take it in baby steps for real, because when you start thinking about it as a whole and, oh my God, I got to lose this amount of weight and then I got to fit in this and then I'm going here and I need to get in a bikini or I need to do this, or do I have my muffin top? How big is my muffin top? Is it a muffin top or is it moved into a triple decker cake? You think about these things. Oh my God, it'll drive you crazy. Now, earlier, Christopher, I stated that if you want to look like $1 million, that you should get down to the gym. Now, for the most part, that is one of the major reasons that people go to gyms, to look better first and foremost, with their health being secondary. I mean, that's the way I feel. I could be wrong. Now, I think that Stephen Levine told me that you also feel that gyms and working out in general have been more for cosmetic reasons than anything, and that you're trying to make Sweat Garage's philosophy more about the internal health, great fitness, working out, just like maintenance on a car. Now, a question for you. Now, in case you have like this secret goal of world domination in the gym arena, tell me how you plan on making going to the gym more for making you go to the gym for cosmetic reasons secondary, and making and being health conscious first and foremost. How do you plan on doing that?
Yeah, well, I mean, this is the biggest challenge that I think that I personally have, and I think that this is the biggest challenge when it comes to getting healthy, because everyone wants to go and have their cosmetics looking good prior to their health feeling good. And it's all about, summer's right around the corner, or my wedding's coming up, or it's about something externally and not internally. Until, there are severe cases when, your doctor says to you, look, if you don't start working out, if you don't start exercising, then, you're in serious risk, or I need to put you on this medication until you can get your health, and then I'll be able to take you off of it. So there's a really misconception. Ultimately, the cosmetic does not sustain itself. So it's really about teaching people that it's about health. It's really about feeling good internally, and that will shine through and be much bigger than the cosmetic, much bigger.
So you don't necessarily agree with the old phrase "feel good, look good"?
Well, I certainly agree with when you look good, you definitely feel good as well. But there's more to it. You can look good and be miserable. And you can look great and still be unhealthy. You can look great and have an unhealthy heart, or not a very strong heart, or not very strong lungs. A lot of men generally who go to the gym and they just sit down and they lift heavy weights and they get big muscles and they walk out of the gym smoking a cigarette. They have no actual cardio endurance. They have no capacity to sustain other realms. You look at someone who's a yogi who does a lot of yoga, has a lot different type of strength from someone who goes and can lift, 300-pound bench press or something. So it's a different approach to working out. It's about being healthy. It's about strengthening your heart. Our hearts are muscles. Strengthening your heart, strengthening your lungs, being able to sustain and breathe and run and work out at the same time that you strengthen your muscles and, build your endurance in that way.
I absolutely agree. I mean, it sounds logical to me, for sure. Now, I have to tell you that I think more than anyone that you've spoken to in the past 30 days, I am in I hate to say it, but I am in desperate need of working out for health conscious reasons only, because I'm still looking good in the facial region. But below the chins, Christopher, and note that I said chins, because we have been sporting a double-decker over here for a while now. So, but Christopher, we live in a building that has everything you could possibly have in the gym. I mean, state-of-the-art equipment. And this is supposed to turn me back into the Marilyn Monroe hottie that I used to be in the 80s. But I can't even muster the energy and the desire to get there. And I think sometimes I think this happens to a lot of people. I think sometimes there is a psychological or possibly a chemical imbalance for some people. What are your thoughts on that, though? I mean, like for me, and I'm sure there's millions of other people who have a full-blown gym in their building and they haven't visited it. What's going on? You think it's psychological? What?
I mean, that is the question. I mean, that's the number one question. Why can't we get ourselves to the gym to work out? One, it's not that much fun, to be honest.
No, it's not. It is much more fun to lift that. It is much more fun to lift a damn Snickers bar and eat one of those Krispy Kreme donuts, which I had today. I said, should I go to the gym or do I want to eat this Krispy Kreme? And the Krispy Kreme was crying for me. I heard it. I can hear the food talk to me. I don't hear the gym equipment talk to me. What's going on, Christopher? Right. Am I unbalanced or what?
Well, no, I mean, that's the struggle. That really is the struggle. Getting oneself to the gym is super hard to do. And then once you're at the gym, what are you supposed to do, right? You walk around the gym, you look at the cardio machines, you maybe step on a treadmill for 20 minutes and you walk and you do various things, and then you get off the treadmill and you think, I should probably go lift some weights. And on the way over to the weights section of the gym, you run into a friend and then you're talking for 15 minutes and then you're like, I better get over there, and you get over to the weight thing, and then someone's using the 5-pound or 10-pound weights that you want to use, and then you got to wait for them to use them. And I mean, that's the thing. And before you know it, you've spent 2 hours at the gym. You walk out of there, you've hardly broken a sweat, and you're like, what did I do? That was awful. You know, that's the typical gym goer's experience. It's super difficult, one, to get there. It's really hard to know what to do when you're there, and it's really difficult to motivate yourself to do the exercises, the correct exercises, and to push yourself to really get a good workout. I mean, that's the problem, right?
Well,
That's
Christopher, you are absolutely right, and I'm going to tell you another problem that you may or may not be aware of, but I got to be honest with you, speaking as a person who's rotund but still gorgeous, when you go to these gyms, especially the more popular gyms, people who are pleasantly plump, such as myself, will go there, and then you've got all these, like, Venus de Milos there. I mean, everybody seems to be in shape. I'm going to be honest. And then when you got somebody who goes in there, you get discouraged because you're thinking, oh my God, either one, I will never have that body. It's going to take years. Or two, you start thinking, oh my God, they're looking at me thinking, oh, I wonder how many donuts she downed today. You know, you get self-conscious. You look at them and think, I can never have that body. There are lots of thoughts, and that just going in, not even trying, is enough to discourage people who are more rotund or pleasantly plump. So what do you tell people who are overweight, obese, super obese, morbidly obese, anything like that? They don't feel comfortable going into the gyms. What advice do you have for them?
Well,
I caught you off guard, didn't I?
This is I don't know if I necessarily have advice, but this is what my reaction is that, first of all, everyone has their own insecurities. I don't care how perfect someone's body may look. That person has their own personal insecurities, whether it's revolving around their actual body or whatever it happens to be. So, going to a gym and thinking, in that ways where it's really being so self-critical about, who you are is really a hard thing to do. So allowing yourself to just be and do is what everyone needs to do. And this is why group fitness is so great right now, because, we've got this social media and we've got all of these things. And, if we can kind of socialize fitness in a way, and this is exactly what I'm aiming to do at Sweat Garage, is bringing people into a class setting, having a friend who you can work out with and who you can be responsible to. You can say, we're going to meet at Sweat Garage at the 11 o'clock class. We're going to be there. And you know what? You're going to be there because if you're not going to be there, your friend's going to be calling you saying, where the hell are you? Why aren't you here right now? And once you're there, once you're in this class and we're working out minute to minute and going, there's no time for these ideas of insecurities. They come and then they go. You have an insecurity and you think right away. And I've had people say this to me. I felt insecure about myself, thinking, oh, people are looking at me some way. And then they're like, but then I realized that they're doing their own thing. We're all working out together, but everyone's doing their own thing within this class, within this group setting. And I really believe that, if we can, that this is why classes are so popular at gyms.
I think you're right, because you kind of can blend in and camouflage yourself among the other fatties, I think. So it's like, I'm like, oh, okay. That's why I think that Simmons, what's his name? Richard Simmons, he has a class with a bunch of heavy people, and being a little fatty myself, but I would take his class honestly before I would walk into a popular gym or one of the top gyms, because I would feel more comfortable there with people that look more like me rather than going to a gym that has a bunch of, drop dead gorgeous people. So how do you blend? How do you make the people who are a little bit, a little bit heavier feel comfortable coming to Sweat Garage? What can you do? I mean, do you want our business, or would you say, stay on the other side of town? What do you feel about that?
Well, I mean, I'm not going to say no to anyone. If someone wants to get into shape and they're serious about doing it, then, come on in is my attitude, because you're doing a lot more good for yourself to come into Sweat Garage and work at just even 50% of your capability than you are staying at home and eating a donut or something like that, or not even eating, just sitting on the couch. So
right.
I really encourage people to come to Sweat Garage. And once they're there, then, I put the responsibility back on them. I'm going to do all I can in this class to motivate people, to make sure that people are working out in a very safe way, that they're using the correct form, but in the same way, in the same regard that, I've got a class of 10 to 20 people, I put the responsibility back on the individual. You need to know what your speeds are. You need to know where you are, how much you can push. And then when I get to see you, when I see you work and I know where you are, then I can come in and push you a little bit more if I think it's necessary, or, you can take it back. But it's really, you really can't, there is no miracle pill, there is no miracle class to working out. Ultimately, it has to come from the individual. It is the hard work and the sweat of the individual and the effort that they put in. I just try and provide a very comfortable, encouraging environment where they can come, feel comfortable in doing it. But, they got to get there and they got to do the work.
Absolutely. Now, you have certified trainers that work at your company, right? Now, let me ask you, certified means what? They are certified to do what? And are they capable of what comes in this certification? Is it like for a certain weight class? Is it for a certain type of health? I mean, are they equipped if a person who came in who was a little heavier than the average, hot gym goer, they're more for toning and maintenance, would they be equipped to deal with people who are heavier? Do they have the ability to work with larger people?
Absolutely. That there are several different types of certifications, but in just a general sense, being a certified personal trainer means that you know the body, you know the mechanics of the body, the movements of the muscles, and that you know how to do the proper exercises in the proper way to target the muscles that you're, wanting to work on. So it's all about, regardless of, I have people who are in great shape, and when they do squats, they have horrible form. So it's really not about being overweight or being in good shape. A good squat is a good squat, You keep your form straight, and that's how you do it. If you're overweight and it's extra hard to do the movements, well, then you make the adjustment, There's always a modification that you can add to any exercise.
Mm-hmm. So the trainer would work with you, would take into account your body size and the frame, and would they get into asking, is there any health problems that you have that may limit your mobility? Do they get into that? Do they keep a chart? I mean, how do they remember that? Do your people keep charts, or you know what I'm saying? Like sometimes when you have a personal trainer, they mark everything down, and then when you come in again, they have all your stats. Do your trainers do that, or what do they do?
Not that specific. We're not keeping charts on every individual client. What we do is we do find out, we do get a brief history of their working out the last couple of months. We do inquire about injuries to see if there have been any injuries, or if if people need specific attention. Someone has a bum knee, or they had a wrist surgery or something like that. So we do the best we can in a general sense. And but for the most part, the exercises that we're doing are pretty basic, whether it's bicep curls or doing push-ups, or we're doing crunches. And you just do the best you can is really how it goes. You get in there and you're working your body, so you do the best you can.
So let me ask you, say I was coming to audit your gym. Just one day, I'm going to stay there from the time it opens to the time it closes. I assume it's not a 24-hour gym. And I'm staying in the background, and I'm just looking out, and I'm viewing what's going on at Sweat Garage. Why don't you tell me, what are some of the things that I'm going to see?
Mm-hmm. Well, in the room itself, we have one wall lined with treadmills. And on the floor of the same room, we have those step benches, and we have people running on the treadmills or jogging or walking on the treadmills, and then we have people on the floor, and everyone has their own bench on the floor. Everyone has their own set of weights, and you have the trainer who is on a microphone, and there's music playing, which is the great, Push It by Salt and Pepper you were talking about.
Right.
Great music. And the trainer is saying, people on the treadmill, take your walk into a jog. People on the treadmill, let's walk up a hill. We're going to 2 inclines first. People on the floor, bicep curls. And then as that's happening, the trainer is going around to every individual on the floor, making sure that they're doing their curls correctly, checking the form, checking the weights. And then as we move on, it's like, okay, let's continue up this hill, take that 2 incline, let's take it up to 4 incline now. Still walking up this hill. On the floor, let's move from bicep curls into tricep extensions. And then that's how the class is paced. And we break the hour down. So you might be on the treadmill for 10 minutes, and then you switch down to the floor for 10 minutes, and then you go back to the treadmill for 10 minutes. So we're mixing cardio working out with weight training working out, and you're putting the two together. And it's just an amazing hour that flies by. Lots of great energy. People really, my thing is, like I said earlier, getting people to associate a positive experience with working out.
So this trainer, are you saying, I might have misheard you, but are you saying that this one trainer stays with each individual person for an hour? Or is this a trainer that's running a whole class and going around to different sections?
That it's one trainer teaching the whole class. Telling everyone on the treadmill is doing the same thing. Mm-hmm. If they're walking, they're all walking. If they're jogging, they're all jogging. So we basically customize the treadmill portion to basic terms: a walk speed, a jog speed, a run speed, and a sprint speed. And I always tell new people not to get caught up in the terminology. You have 4 different speeds: a slow, a medium, a faster, and your fastest. And this is where I put the responsibilities back on each individual. I always say you need to figure out what those speeds are for you, so that everyone on the treadmill has their own speeds personalized to them. And then 1, it gives them some good solid parameters to work within. And 2, it gives them something to build on week in, week out. One day, I was jogging at a 5.0 when I first started. Now I'm jogging at a 6.0, And as your body gets stronger, you want to push those speeds up. And as I or any trainer sees more and more the people working out, then I can get involved and I can start saying, Priscilla, it's time to get out of that 4.0 walk and get your speed up to 5.0. You know what I mean?
Oh, you've already scared me. I'm already I just put that damn Krispy Kreme down right now. I had you on mute and I was ready to take a bite in between. Oh, well, let me ask you something.
Well, it's working then. It's working.
Yes, it is. You scared the hell out of me already. Question for you. Wait, what? Okay, other than what you've stated already, what do you feel is different about your gym? Why should I go to Sweat Garage as opposed to another one right down the street, other than what you've already stated? I really believe that at Sweat Garage, we really give this personal touch. We really give that one-on-one personal training feel in a class setting. You can go on to the Yelp and you can read the reviews from Yelp. They're fantastic. The people who are coming into Sweat Garage are the greatest people. And, we're all really encouraging of everyone else. If I have someone who's new and it's their first class, at the end of the class, I'll say, just today even, I said, give it up to Alex. It was his first day. And people applaud him and say, way to go, Alex. You did great. It's just this kind of community where you really do get that personal touch, and it's so nice and so special. And honestly, I see people walking out with big smiles on their face, even though they're drenched in sweat. It's fantastic. Well, I don't know. Woo! That sounds good to me. Now, I don't know, because I think if you had to I like the personal touch, but I think if you had to take me on as a client, even if you never desired them before, I think you might be tempted to take some hallucinogenic drugs. I'd be a challenge for you. I really think I'd be a challenge. But let's talk about happier things, like maybe some of your success stories. Why don't you give me some examples of some of your client success stories?
I have had one girl who she was in the gym the other day, and I said, "Allison, you look great." And she turned around and said to me, since I started coming here, which was only 4 months ago, I've lost 50 pounds.
Wow!
And I was blown away.
What?
Yeah. 50, 50.
I mean, just in working out, or did you give her some sort of menu plan too?
That is a lot of kudos to Allison, because not only was she putting in a lot of hard work at Sweat Garage, but obviously she was doing a lot of hard work outside of Sweat Garage. So, and that's what it's about. You can't, it's not just about working out. It's about, putting good foods into your body. Put down that Krispy Kreme donut. It's about being healthy. It's not about going on a diet. Diets are terrible. It's like a vacation. There's always an end to that diet. I'm going to go on a diet for 2 weeks. Well, that's not really that good. How about just being a little bit kinder to ourselves and a little bit more aware of what we're putting into our bodies? And if we do eat a Krispy Kreme donut, we're not going to beat ourselves up over it, and we're not going to worry so much about it. We're just not going to do it every single day, day in, day out, and 5 times a day.
Well, I tell you, I have a friend. She is one of the many people that cast for The Biggest Loser, and she contacted me on Friday, and she's been trying to get me on that show, The Biggest Loser, forever. I mean, she's cast so many people, and I keep telling her, you know what, I can't do it. I cannot do it, because I look at those women, and I mean, they got like they're large, and they're about my size. I fit in that category, in one of the categories. I won't tell you which one, but I look at them, and they've got their rolls, which would be me having my little rolls hanging over, and I think I cannot do it. I just can't be on that show, and that's it, because I would feel embarrassed walking around the gym looking like that. What would you say to all of the listeners who, and I have some listeners who I personally know have emailed me and told me about their weight problems as well. What would you say to get them to come and to visit Sweat Garage? Can they come in and just check it out? Or do you have to come in and just start working out?
No, of course. They could always come in and they could just watch a class. They could audit a class. They could come in just for 5 minutes and walk around the space in between classes. They could come in and just, talk to me for a few minutes and have, express their concerns or questions or whatnot. But, it's a struggle for everyone, getting into shape. And maybe Sweat Garage isn't the best place to start for someone who is extremely overweight and, managing their way around the room might be extra difficult. But I sure encourage anyone to get in there. And if, the bigger struggle is more with what's going on with them. It's not really about coming in and taking the class. It's what's going on inside of their heads, inside of their emotional states that are stopping them from taking that first step.
Do you believe that people just like food and want to eat the hell out of it? Or do you think that there's got to be some sort of, psychological chemical imbalance? If I asked you that question, do you think there's something psychologically, chemically wrong? Or do you think that there are people that just like food, love food, like to smell it and touch it and feel it and eat it, and that's why they get big? Or do you think that there's something else always going on?
I definitely think that there's something else going on that's much, much bigger than just loving food, because ultimately, you can love food and you can be healthy and have a good relationship with it. Our bodies do not need that enormous amounts of food that we put into it. I mean, that is you're eating yourself to death. Yeah. Diabetes is becoming like an epidemic. Children these days, there's a lot of obesity in kids, and whether it comes from their parents or where it comes from, it's extremely unhealthy. I mean, it's scary. It's certainly not just a love for food, and that's a terrible excuse in my opinion.
There you go. That is Christopher Slevin's idea. If you agree with that, then you want to come to his gym and check it out. If you don't like what he said or agree, then obviously you won't go. So you've heard his philosophy. Now, I want to talk, we've got 10 minutes, and I want to touch base on something that happened to you in March 2009. You were obviously hospitalized with a syndrome called, and I apologize if I don't pronounce it right, but I think it's Guillain-Barré or Barré, GBS. Yeah. And I do know it's an autoimmune syndrome, and it attacks the nerves, and it causes total paralysis and even death in some people. Now, I know from Stephen that you couldn't walk, lift your arms, close your mouth, or even blink your eyes, and that you were in the hospital for 2.5 months. And when you left, you were in a wheelchair. When I heard that, I was like, oh, my God, how did this man make that transition? Now, is this a genetic disease, and how did you overcome your physical, emotional, and psychological issues with this syndrome? Because that is like some harsh-ass shit. I'm going to just say it.
Yeah. It was the craziest thing that's ever happened. Oh, man. Getting Guillain-Barré, and you did pronounce it correctly, Guillain-Barré, was crazy, and I was completely debilitated. I couldn't walk. I couldn't lift my arms. I couldn't move my legs. I couldn't blink my eyes. My face was totally expressionless. It looked like I had Botox. There weren't even wrinkles in my forehead or anywhere in my face. And it was, this is where my philosophy comes with Sweat Garage, is that, I had to accept the terms of Guillain-Barré. I had to accept being paralyzed. And then I had to figure out, well, what am I going to do to get better? And so if someone is overweight, well, first of all, you've got to accept that, because if you fight that, you're going to lose that battle. And you've got to come to terms with what can you do with your current situation to start taking the right steps to getting better. If that's ultimately what you want to do, for me, I wanted to get better. I didn't want to accept Guillain-Barré as the end all. And I knew that I could get better, but it was all about what can I do today that is going to help me get better, like you said earlier, the baby steps. I had one therapist asking me to tie my shoe, and I said, that's ridiculous. I can't even bend down to my feet. Let's do something that I'm capable of doing today, and then 2 weeks from now we can revisit the tying the shoes. I had my therapist saying, I need you to stand up today, and I said, that's all. I'll try, and I'll give it my best, but I can't do it. So just being okay with that and struggling with that, and it was so hard. It was such hard work, and that's what it comes down to. It's, you want to get better, and you got to know that it's going to be hard. And if you want to lose, 20 pounds, 50 pounds, whatever it is, you got to know that's going to be hard. If you want to just kind of get into better shape, that's going to be hard. Nothing's easy when it comes to that, but our bodies are amazing. They can change. They can repair themselves. They can heal themselves. And it's just about finding the right things to do and really sticking with it and being kind to yourself and good to yourself as you go along and as you do it.
Now, what do you feel were some of the biggest things that you learned from this experience of having the syndrome?
Well, I learned an enormous amount of things. I learned a lot about surrendering. I learned a ton of patience. I had to explain to every nurse, every day, every therapist, every doctor what was going on with me, because when a new nurse walked in the room, they, just by looking at me, they had no idea what was going on with my body, let alone really know much about Guillain-Barré. So I had to explain, I need help sitting up in bed. I need help putting my shoes and socks on. I need help getting into my wheelchair. And I had to do that even in the worst of my frustrations. And I had to be patient with everyone. And I had to kind of look at everything day in and day out and say, you know what, I'm going to get better. And I had to believe in it. And I learned a lot about advocating for myself, telling the doctors, my rehab stay at the hospital was 2 months when the average stay is 11 days. And I had to advocate to stay in the hospital, to stay in the rehab. I had to get my doctors to, talk to my insurance, to tell the insurance company that I was going to stay, that they were going to keep me there. I mean, so many things. It was an amazing experience.
Now, was that before you thought about starting Sweat Garage, or had that been on your thoughts that that's what you were going to do eventually? Was that a goal to start Sweat Garage before, during, or after?
Well, it didn't really materialize intellectually and certainly physically until getting out of the hospital. So that's when I really started putting things together, is when I was, still in my wheelchair. I was at home, but I was still in the wheelchair, and I started, saying, okay, this is what I want to do. And that's when I started putting things together, creating, the business side of things and looking for a space and, putting it all together.
So did you just wake up one morning in March 2009 and you just felt symptoms, or had you been feeling symptoms before?
Yeah. Well, one thing about Guillain-Barré that you had asked earlier is that, one, it's not a genetic syndrome. It doesn't discriminate in terms of age or masculine, feminine, or race. It is just it's a pretty rare thing to happen, and it can happen really to anyone. So basically what had happened with me is that I think I had like a cold or a virus. What happens is your immune system has an overreaction to something. So it could be a flu shot, it could be the flu, it could be a cold, and your immune system develops all these antibodies. And let's say the virus is taken care of, but your body has all these extra antibodies floating around, and they have no idea what to do because there's no more virus to take care of or to attack. And so they start going after the myelin, which is the protective sheath around the nerve, and they start eating the myelin off the nerve and attacking the myelin as though it's a virus. And ultimately what happens is the myelin transmits the signals from our brains to our muscles. So if we want to make a fist, it's the transmission through the myelin of your body, your mind saying, move your hands, make the fist. And when the myelin isn't there, you can't get the signal to your muscles and to your body. So, imagine looking at your hand and with all of your mind power thinking, make the fist, and you just cannot move your hand no matter how hard you try.
Oh, my God. So it's in the family of arthritis or rheumatoid arthritis because it's an autoimmune.
Yeah, and also multiple sclerosis as well, because it's a demyelinating syndrome. So it's taking the myelin off of the nerve, but it comes on at an extremely rapid pace. It was within 7 days that I could hardly walk. Actually, before I even went into the hospital, I had gone to a pharmacy and bought a cane to help me walk. It started with a tingling sensation in my feet and came up the back of my legs. Like my legs were extremely sore, but like a painful sore. And then my arms were getting really sore. My hands were really sensitive to water or to like a cool breeze. And it was just basically, I think, the exposing of the nerves because the myelin was getting stripped off. So all of a sudden the nerves were just being exposed and raw, and then I couldn't get the signal across, and then it started to come up into my body, into my chest. My breathing was labored. My speech started to become slurred because I couldn't, move my lips as well as, you do when you speak. And so it was like my breathing and then my speaking. And at that point I was, just about done.
Now, is this something you're going to have for the rest of your life and you have to take medication?
I did one treatment when I was in the hospital, when I was in the ICU, one treatment called IVIG, which is an intravenous immunoglobulin, which basically is like a cellular sponge that they put into my bloodstream to pick up the antibodies that have been attacking the nerves. And once those antibodies had kind of ceased, that was it. So that was really the only medication that I've taken since the onset of Guillain-Barré. And then, but the hard part is that once the myelin is gone, that's the recovery, because the myelin will regenerate itself, but it does so at an extremely slow rate. And that's where the real recovery and the real struggle comes in. Yeah, trying to learn how to do all these things over
Relearn
again.
it all over again. I hear you, honey. It's unfortunately we ran out of time, and I'm very sad about that because I had an incident happen to me in February 2009 where I got up to get out of the bed and I fell on the floor. I had torn my meniscus, and
my goodness.
And because of my weight, it's been a reoccurring issue, and it's basically cut out my modeling career. I was a plus size model, my acting. I haven't been able to do any work on films, television, anything. It's just horrible. Yeah, it's horrible. It really is. So mine happened in February 2009. Yours happened in March. So very interesting. Now, I know I'm gonna have to bring you back on the show so we can continue our complaint fest. All right. Well, it is 5:50 and it is time for us to go. And I want to thank you so much for coming on the show, Christopher. Please, sweatgarage.com. Sweatgarage.com. Check it out. Go see Christopher. Real quick, thank you so much. Tell everybody thank you for listening to you. And we're going to ask you to come back on the show. Would you be interested in that?
That would be great.
Woo! All right,
I
Christopher, thank you. Say goodbye to your fans.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much, Priscilla.
You're welcome, sweetheart.
Okay.
Bye, everybody. Next week, Jim Beaver from Supernatural, Bobby Singer, is going to be on the show. You don't want to miss it. See ya!
You're listening to Question Reality. Question Reality with Priscilla Leona. Only on LA Talk Radio.